7 phases in 2021, 7 phases in 2024, many phases earlier, and now a West Bengal election only in 2 phases.
We can't really confirm whose convenience he was talking about, whether it's BJP's convenience or convenience of the situation holistically existing in Bengal, which does not reek of violence anymore.
More than 60 lakh voters have been left out. Now, we don't know whether the Election Commission is going to prepare, another list which says that the pre-SIR voters would be applicable here.
So CAA had been a big dampener for most of Matuas. And now you have the SIR. It essentially says that if your name is there in 2002 voter list, you are safe. For those Matuas who are not there on the 2002 voter list, who cannot be mapped, they literally have to submit documents.
A huge mess if legit voters are unable to exercise their franchisee, and this is again a very grey area. So let's see how it all pans out just before D-Day, before the voting day.
Hello and welcome. You're watching me, Sanket Upadhyay, on The Federal. The show is called AI with Sanket. This is the AI of news because news in India today requires not artificial but analytical intelligence. The dates for assembly elections have been announced. Obviously, there was a huge surprise because it almost appeared that these elections will not even happen. There was a huge delay in making these announcements. However, the announcement was made. The other big surprise was the truncated number of phases. We were so used to seeing 7, 8 phases of elections in West Bengal that when the announcement was of only 2, it surprised many. Why is it that Bengal had to face 7 phases in 2024, but come 2026, only 2 would do? Who is this going to politically benefit? Is this advantage Mamata Banerjee, or is this advantage Bharatiya Janata Party? The elephant in the room, because we are focusing today only on West Bengal, is the SIR exercise, the Special Intensive Revision. Is this something which has kept all political parties busy? There will be no victory if your voters or the electorate are not franchised. If they are disenfranchised, then they will not vote for you. But with this disenfranchisement, is it advantage BJP or advantage Trinamool Congress? And let's just flip this argument around. Is it going to be disadvantage BJP or disadvantage Trinamool Congress? We put all these possibilities to a short discussion on this program. And joining us right now are 2 eminent personalities from Kolkata to discuss the West Bengal election dates. Saira Shah Halim, very famous panelist on TV, very active. She's a social worker. You've seen her raise many issues on television and on the ground. So thank you very much, Ms. Saira Shah Halim, for joining us. We also have Tamal Saha, who runs the media outlet News The Truth, and he's been speaking a lot of truth. So you have to go to his platform to know what I'm talking about. So thank you to both of you. I want to begin with you, Tamal, first. 7 phases in 2021, 7 phases in 2024, many phases earlier, and now a West Bengal election only in 2 phases. What has changed?
Sanket sir, are you jealous? Are you jealous of us reporters not have to work that hard or that much? I mean, have some pity on us. In 2016, it was 7 phases. In 2018, there were 8 phases. In 2024 Lok Sabha elections, several BJP leaders had demanded for 10 phases. And we had our fingers crossed. This time around, it has come down to 2 phases. Ask political parties, their responses would be different, but please go ahead and ask journalists, they are very happy. They are very happy. Yes, there is some amount of confusion now that you have 152 assembly constituencies going to polling on day 1, which starts from northern part of Bengal to going down to Purulia, which is absolutely down in the range of access. But it's okay, I would say. But yes, interesting, very, very interesting. The same political parties, Sanket sir, who had been saying that Bengal is very hostile when it comes to celebration of democracy, that Bengal is only known for violence and violence in politics, that these two ideas are inseparable, that it has seen pre-poll violence and post-poll violence, showing these many reasons. Every political party, be it the BJP or the left, have always demanded for multiple phases. But very interestingly, this time, BJP, the same political party that had demanded for 10 phases in 2024 Lok Sabha election, had demanded for a single phase, at max 2 phases, even with the left. I mean, we find it very bewildering. In 2021 assembly election, we were dealing with COVID, and people were dying, yet there were no there were no excuses accepted. We had gone through 8 phases, but Mr. Ganesh Kumar, CEC, says that he has considered everyone's appeal, and I would say he also said everyone's convenience is being considered. And that's a very interesting statement to even make, that everyone's convenience has been considered. Well, we can't really confirm as whose convenience he had been referring to. That's his statement coming in from him yesterday. We can't really confirm whose convenience he was talking about, whether it's BJP's convenience or convenience of the situation holistically existing in Bengal, which does not reek of violence anymore. And that's a validation coming from ECR.
Saira Shah Halim, Bengal was perhaps the only state that saw a very belated ending of the SIR saga. In fact, some would argue it is still not ended, and the picture is yet to unfold. Picture abhi baki hai. In a situation like this, what is your reading of this poll announcement? And is it just me, or even you feel that the election fervor in Bengal is far more muted this time around than it was in 2024, 2021, 2019, and even 2016?
See, I'll tell you one thing, Sanket. The SIR, the mammoth exercise that was, kind of brought about the people of West Bengal just before the state election is a very telling sign. Now, I really don't understand why an exercise of this nature, which actually requires years, had to be completed in a manner of months. So obviously now there are a lot of adjunctions that have happened. There's a lot of more than 60 lakh voters have been left out. Now, we don't know whether the election commission is going to prepare, another list which says that the pre-SIR voters would be applicable here, or whether they are going to be declared aliens or not. That is again a very gray area, and a lot of actually law-abiding citizens who vote in every election, be it civic body polls, be it the local panchayat, be it state assembly, they've gone and voted. And they're very prominent citizens of Calcutta whom I know who have also contested elections, whose names has not come out in the in the final list. So I think it is a huge concern, because a lot of these areas where these voters' names have been left out happen to be a lot from Malda, Murshidabad, and a lot of minority areas. So here there's a big concern. Now, regarding the phases, okay, we have had election in 7 phases, 5 phases, all of that. It's been a huge drain on the state's resources, central resources. You have CISF boots everywhere. So overall, it's not just the state, that actually has to bear the burden of it, even the center. So now you're right. The SIR will play a very pivotal role, and it will be very, very, I feel, unfair if these voters who are legit voters are left out in the electoral process and they are unable to vote this time. So I really don't know how this election will pan out. The reason it's muted is because people were very concerned about the SIR, the final list, and they didn't know what the outcome would be. And that is why the election is muted, because a lot of people feel that it's not a fair run, you know, for the opposition as of now. And of course, there's a battle between the BJP and the TMC here, the center and the state, that will remain. So let us see how things unfold, because right now there'll be two dates that have been given out, right, for the election. And then we have May 4th, that is going to be the counting date. So let us see how April 23rd and April 29th pans out for West Bengal as well.
Correct. Tamal, just quickly coming back to you, this point that Ms. Halim mentioned about SIR, and that perhaps being the reason for the election being muted, or at least the run up to the elections being muted, because of a certain sense of insecurity, whether my name will be there or not, or whether I'll be disenfranchised. You've been reporting on the ground. I want to know from you, is that a genuinely valid fear of voters who perhaps are not voters of the BJP? Tamal.
To answer your question, yes, definitely it doesn't feel like the elections of Bengal. In my journalistic career so far, I have not come across such a muted Bengal election ever. Be it Panchayat election, be it Lok Sabha election, be it Assembly election, there is always a sense of high voltageness attached to it. And in that regard, it definitely feels very, very muted. An election is muted or not muted, not because of voters. An election is muted or not muted because of how political parties behave and how political parties fight the elections on the ground. Now, there comes the catch. SIR had been a big, big, big factor when it comes to this election season. Let's go back to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He came down to Bengal just 2 days back. He was there at the brigade ground and he spoke at length. Sanket, sir, he did not take Mamata Banerjee's name even for once. So when you say it's muted, yes, it is muted when the Prime Minister is on the election card, literally as the face of BJP, not taking on the might of Mamata Banerjee, who is on power. So thus it is muted. Why isn't he taking Mamata Banerjee's name? I don't know. But what he has spoken about SIR, because SIR as an issue has in a way backfired for BJP big time. And I say this very consciously because when SIR was launched, it suggested that all Rohingyas and minorities from Bangladesh, Muslims from Bangladesh would be flushed out. That was championed, held by BJP as an exercise that would clean up Bengal. All right. Now, what happened in the course of time? What you've realized that there are more Hindus. There are more Hindus who are at the risk of getting disenfranchised. I'll give you a few basic examples. Matua. Matuas are the marginalized Hindus who have come from Bangladesh during the time of partition, be it 1971 or 60, 62, even after that. Now, they constitute the second largest scheduled caste community in Bengal, and they have an influence on over 40 assembly seats. So their votes really matter. It was they for who CAA was proposed back in 2019. Now, it is also for BJP to answer that they got the bill passed in 2019, but took 5 years to formulate rules, and only after the rules were designed, CAA was eventually implemented in March 2024, right ahead of Lok Sabha election. So Matuas had voted for BJP. You see, Bonga Lok Sabha seat went to BJP. It went to BJP again this time, and that is known to be a stronghold. But then these Matuas are disappointed because they all could not apply for CAA even after the rules were formulated, because the entire procedure was supposed to be happening online. And once you get into the website of Minister of Home Affairs CAA website, you have to go from one page to another. So one page, you fill in your details. Next page, when you go there, they would be asking for some Indian documents. You have Aadhaar card, voter card, whatever you have, you're procured with the course of time, you submit that. Then in the third page, that CAA website is asking for your document from Bangladesh. Is asking for one document that essentially establishes your contact with either Bangladesh or Pakistan or Afghanistan, whichever part of the land you're coming from, you submit that document. Now, for these Matuas who are Hindus, who had left behind a very bloody history, a bloody past, their houses were burning, and they left Bangladesh and came and took refuge in India, it is too naive to even expect that they were carrying their birth certificate. Of course, they didn't have their birth certificate then, to carry one piece of document that would establish their connection with Bangladesh. So they all came empty handed, barely with clothes on them. So now on the third page of CEA website, they're getting stuck. They just can't proceed. So CEA had been a big dampener for most of Mutuas. And now you have the SIR. It essentially says that if your name is there in 2002 voter list, you are safe. For those Mutuas who are not there on the 2002 voter list, who cannot be mapped, they literally have to submit documents. What documents do they have? They have Aadhaar card, which is not a proof of identity, and they have a voter card, which is under scrutiny. So they do not have an essential additional card which establishes their citizenship. So several Matuas have been deleted from the final list. The number could be about 1 lakh or could be more. There is no final confirmation. Now, BJP had been saying that none of the Hindus would be deleted, but these Matuas are Hindus who had voted for them. So when elections, you say, are muted, I am sure they are finding it very difficult. All the political parties are finding it very difficult to not touch SIR and then move on to some other election issue. So if SIR is at the center of the election issue, Trinamool Congress is making a lot of noise and they are trying to ensure that it goes to their advantage. But BJP, while trying to harp on SIR, they do not have any particular narrative apart from the fact that Trinamool Congress is trying to save the Rohingyas. But that as a narrative is falling flat for at least those who are Hindus and now at the risk of disenfranchisement.
This is fascinating. This is a fascinating understanding of what the SIR exercise has entailed in Bengal. Ms. Saira Shah Halim, would you then agree that the SIR exercise, which was carried out with the intention of weeding out unnecessary voters who are not citizens and must be disenfranchised, is proving to be a very difficult and bitter pill for the BJP itself? And see, the point is, if you exclude only Muslims or Rohingyas, then there will be this conversation that you're targeting only one community. Now that you have, yeah.
See, we have to look at the whole exercise. Now, how can you do this exercise in less than 2 months? And here, even if Mamata Banerjee went to court and she donned the lawyers, court, the fact is that there's still people who have been left out of the final list. That is the main question here. And right now, with this Iran-Israel war, the mood is very somber. There are a lot of kith and kin who are already serving in Gulf countries, who are working in Dubai. There are a lot of Kolkata people who work in Dubai. So I think as BJP and TMC spar over, SIR, the playing conditions are drastically changed in West Bengal because everybody is now looking at how this war, the pitfalls will pan out for India. We've seen how we have, like the rest of India, even Bengal is queuing up for LPG cylinders. We're not able to even procure a simple gas, right? And that side is not kind, where people have to fight. The auto rickshaws' lives will get miserable. The taxi drivers' lives will get miserable. Homemakers, there'll be no gas in the kitchen. So we don't know how it's going to pan out because right now the larger worry is, how the common man will sustain itself. And also the people who have been left out of the SIR. I think a lot of people are in the border area. And as we were talking about, a lot of people are Hindus, the Matua, the community and all, they all are going to be left out. So I think this election will be very messy, considering that there'll be a lot of people who are going to be left out and the election commission is not clear about how they're going to fit in these people in the in a normal electoral process. Otherwise, they would have normally gone and voted like any other election. So firstly, it's a two-phase election. There's a war at large between Iran and Israel, and a lot of countries have got involved. Even India, we have seen how, India, it's an ally of Israel. How it's playing out, it's not been very good, with the Strait of Hormuz. though we have been allowed, a safe passage, but it will play out, in everyday expenses, be it LPG, be it petrol, be it gas, everything would affect the common man. And I think that would be the determining factor, no matter how many doles Mamata Banerjee gives. The fact is, if the common person is oppressed for LPG, for petrol, for gas, and if they're queuing up at the LPG cylinder distribution centers, it will have an effect in the incoming ensuing.
Okay. Tamal, I remember 5 years ago, exactly the same timeline, COVID's second wave wreaked havoc on this country, right? And in the middle of that, donning a huge beard, the Prime Minister was campaigning in West Bengal. And then eventually better sense prevailed and he cut short his campaigning and then he concentrated more of his energy and time in New Delhi. And we saw, among other reasons, this also being one of the reasons why Mamata Banerjee proceeded with a victory. And the BJP could not, of course, they made a significant improvement in their tally, but could not have a shot at power. 5 years later, similar situation on the ground, not like COVID, but not less than COVID also. And then again, you have a West Bengal election in 2 phases. I want you to juxtapose these 2 situations and perhaps tell me how is the common man issues as addressed by Saira Shah Halim here going to play out in Bengal? Or are these just not poll issues at all?
And this time, Sanket sir, you also don't have a long beard. For now. Till now, we haven't seen that. But yes, very interestingly, I will go back to 2021. 2021, and a small correction. Prime Minister did not end his campaign, did not cut it short. It was only till the last phase. It was only till the last phase that this realization has dawned on him. And I remember before Kolkata went to polling, he did some virtual political meetings just before Kolkata. But before that, there was high voltage, hectic political campaigning by all parties. I mean, I remember I have gotten COVID 4 times. People have gotten COVID 4 times. People have died. Yet the elections happened. And I say it again, that in COVID time, during COVID times, we people died while electing leaders. And this time too, we people are there standing in the queue for LPG cylinder while election campaign is on. In 2021, the other thing, Sanket sir, 8 phases had actually benefited Mamata Banerjee. You ask me how? Because when BJP wanted multiple phases, BJP wanted adequate time for Prime Minister to travel from one place to another place so that the campaigning can happen properly. But BJP could not foresee that one day is too long in politics. For example, Mamata Banerjee met with an accident, or there was a scuffle, there is a huge dispute about the issue. Eventually, she broke her leg and she could be seen campaigning with her leg plastered and on a wheelchair. That was never compounded in by BJP when they were thinking of multiple phases. An election really happened on one single phase on 27th of March, 2021. That's when the first phase happened. This wouldn't have been the scene. In fact, after first phase of election, Mamata Banerjee's this accident or attack happened, all right? So that was one thing. Second of all, on 9th of April, right before the 4th phase of election, in fact, on the day the 4th phase of election was happening, Shitol Kuchi firing happened. Firing by central forces in Kuch Bihar. 4 people died, all from Muslim community. And soon after that, a poster that went round and round on every WhatsApp group was your finger with the indelible ink on it, but the ink had a shape of a gun. I mean, that played with the human psyche. Again, BJP never anticipated that. BJP never thought that in multiple phases, so many things can happen. So after election, when they went back to the boardroom, and what we learned from our sources, they did their introspection, and everyone unanimously had decided the longer election had been advantage Mamata Banerjee, be it in 2021 Assembly election or be it 2024 Lok Sabha election, when Mamata Banerjee again, Trinamool Congress got 29 seats. Back in 2019, they were in 2022. They were just 22. And BJP, they were at 18. From 18, BJP came down to 12, and Mamata Banerjee's 22 went up to 29. So, longer election, BJP's off-late realization is advantage Mamata Banerjee. So, yes, they don't want longer election anymore. And that's the reason it was very, very surprising that this time, the same BJP that wanted 10 phases in 2024 Lok Sabha election wanted 2 phases. And yes, as you rightly said, Sanket sir, COVID time, I wish we had learned better lessons out of it. But now it is not COVID, but no less than a crisis. When people have to stand in a queue, they realize there is a war happening outside India. But they also question, if war is happening outside India, why is it affecting people inside India? Because so far we have been sold the idea of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So now if they have to hear that 60% of our energy is coming from outside, I mean, I have come across several people literally questioning, abhi kya cylinder bajao? Gas nahi hai ghar mein, cylinder bajao election se pehle. So obviously...
Instead of thali, cylinder. This is,
cylinder bajao.
There'll be a nice ring to it also. However, I mean, jokes apart, my last question to both of you actually. This extremely last minute, and I feel Mamata Banerjee actually, BJP has met their match in Mamata Banerjee as far as political theatre is concerned. Just before the last 1 hour of the model code of conduct to come into place, suddenly announcing 2 or 3 poll stops. Saira Shah Halim, do you feel that this is actually going to work on the ground?
See, I'll tell you what. Now, she has rolled out 2 schemes, which before election you see that the real Lockheed Bhandar has increased by 500 rupees, which is monthly payout for class 10 students and the Lockheed Bhandar. Okay, here it is a Yuva Sati scheme, and of course, so now the point is that more than 81 lakh people are queued up, to enroll for the Yuva Sati list. So we don't know how many people will get a benefit out of this or not, but let me tell you, it does work. Religious leaders from all sides of the fence, it does work. It does work in her favor, let me tell you that. Now, the question is the larger geopolitics that is playing out. Like I said, the sight of the common man queuing up for an LPG cylinder, that is going to affect. And no matter how many doles the state government is giving, whether it is a Yuva Sati scheme, whether it's the increased allocation of the Lockheed Bhandar, there's still the people who have been left out of the electoral process because of SIR. And this time, no theater, whether you're donning a gown or you're not donning a gown, it will not help, because it will be a huge mess if legit voters are unable to exercise their franchisee. And this is again a very gray area. So let's see how it all pans out just before D-Day, before the voting day.
That's interesting. Tamal, do you feel that these last minute doles are going to help? And secondly, SIR sab pe bhari. The SIR exercise will be the decider.
I mean, see, Sanket sir, there is no denying, and it is natural, there is anti-incumbency. What Trinamool Congress says does not really matter. If Trinamool Congress has completed 3 terms, there has to be anti-incumbency, and there is anti-incumbency. Does Bengal, does Bengal have an alternative? That people probably best know. But there is anti-incumbency. While Mamata Banerjee could be a big factor, Mamata Banerjee could be, as a chief minister, she could be scoring very high in any poll, in any public opinion poll. But in the past couple of years, it is her party, it is her government that has also come under scrutiny for issues like alleged corruption cases. Partho Chatterjee arrested. He is now out on bail, but have people forgotten that it was his good friends or girlfriend's house from where crores and crores of cash money were recovered? Have people really forgotten that? Maybe not. Trinamool Congress may say that after that many elections have happened. Yes, after that many elections have happened and Trinamool Congress has come out victorious. But again, have people really forgotten that? And in anti-incumbency scenario, every issue stays. It might get sidelined for some time, but it only gets amplified when the number of people getting affected by it increases. So when the last election happened, Partha Chatterjee's issue might not have impacted Trinamool Congress because number of people impacted by that were probably very small, minuscule. But now, if that number has grown big, those who were not affected by that as a factor might just get influenced and might just contribute to anti-incumbency. So I say this very consciously. There is anti-incumbency. When BJP runs a political campaign on charges like corruption, there is resonance. No matter what you say, Sanket sir, BJP's vote share has not come down below 35%. So the core vote share, be it Hindus or be it anything, is essentially there with BJP, and they are essentially the anti-Trinamool Congress voters. So when you have a 35% of core vote share existing with you, you just need a spin of another 6 to 7%. Can BJP do that? Riding on anti-incumbency, riding on allegations of Muslim appeasement against against Trinamool Congress, and
Riding
can
on
negate
SIR.
the SIR. Sorry?
Riding on SIR.
Absolutely, riding on SIR. So it's something that we have to wait and see. But for Trinamool Congress too, the party which had been saying that there is no alternative for them, there is no alternative to them, or there is no alternative to Mamata Banerjee, as you rightly said, 2 hours before election dates were supposed to be announced, you increased the honorarium for priests and muazzims. You also released the arrear of DA for 2009 in a retrospective manner. I mean, these announcements could have happened a month back. These announcements could have happened a week back, but they happened just a couple of hours before the elections were announced. So whether Trinamool Congress says that they are very strong, but that does not augur really the strength of Trinamool Congress or Mamata Banerjee when they have to dole out such such doles and populist schemes right ahead of announcement of election. See, Lakhir Bhandar as a scheme had been a game changer for Trinamool Congress. I would say it has changed the political dynamics in the whole of the country. In 2021, when BJP was busy with Hindu Muslim, Mamata Banerjee's party came up with six promises in the manifesto, and one was Lakhir Bhandar, which was nothing, 500 rupees to women, 500 rupees. Probably any middle class family would go out and dine for 500 rupees or 700 rupees or 1,000. But that 500 rupees changed the political game in Bengal. And that model was then adopted in Madhya Pradesh, Ladli Behan, Maharashtra, Larki Behan, Jharkhand, New Delhi, everywhere. Assam, 9,000 rupees been given to 40 lakh women right ahead of election. Bihar, 10,000 rupees given to women right ahead of election. So giving out money to women as an outreach campaign has worked wonders. So Lakhir Bhandar changed the game for Trinamool Congress back in 2021. And in 2024 Lok Sabha election, ahead of Lok Sabha election, the money was increased. And again, in 2026 election, right ahead of that, that scheme has been increased. That financial assistance amount has been increased. But yes, we have to now wait and see whether these financial assistance schemes, which Trinamool Congress is relying heavily on to, in a way, show their report card that, look, we have done these many schemes for common people. Will they really pay the dividend to the party? You have to wait and see. And whether BJP will find some... okay, by the way, before I end, Sanket sir, for BJP, the crisis is that even they are now announcing a similar scheme for Bengal, that they would continue with Lakhir Bhandar and they would increase the money.
Yeah. Which is pretty template. Which is a very templated thing to do. But the point is, the person who is in power actually delivers, and the person who is aspiring to come to power promises. So you can promise hard, but then the comparison will be a bird in hand versus two in the bush. It's as simple as that. But thank you so much, Saira Shah Halim, as well as Tamal Saha, for joining us, giving us an idea of how SIR is going to play out and why these elections are muted. For the sake of electioneering and for the sake of journalists and their reporting, there must be some spark in the sense electoral fervor, related to the elections. It must exist. Come on, Bengal cannot disappoint us. Thank you very much.
I think Sanket sir, you should come down to Calcutta ASAP. There will be more spark after that.
Just booking my ticket, Tamal.
Please.
Thank you. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Bye bye.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.